Hey guys, a very sleepy Sir Owen Disney joining you here this morning, and I would have done this last night, or I would have done this technically this morning, but I was way too tired, and I realized I had to work today at 11 o'clock a.m., so I had to get some sleep. I got about 5.5, 6 hours of sleep, give or take a few. So now I'm wide awake, as much as I can be, I guess. And I am here to deliver another announcement. And that announcement is of your first Scare Zone, officially a Scare Zone coming to Orlando's Halloween Horror Nights 24 event. And also, on the same token, to deliver an announcement of the third maze coming to Hollywood's Halloween Horror Nights event. And they are in the guise of the same intellectual property. So, first we're going to talk about Orlando. Now, when it comes down to it, at 11 p.m. here on the East Coast, the announcement was made via the Horror Nights Orlando Twitter feed that we were getting a new Scare Zone. There was a lot of speculation that this was going to be the official announcement of the Purge Anarchy coming to New York, and that was going to be our announcement. But no, they're probably saving it for either tonight, tomorrow, or this weekend to coincide with the release of the film, which comes out technically tonight at, after 7 p.m. You can watch it in your local Cineplexes, and also you can go watch it when it debuts tomorrow. But yeah, we're having, obviously, their showings tonight. I'd love to be watching it tonight, but unfortunately the time does not work out. So I'm not able to see Anarchy tonight. I'm actually having to wait until tomorrow morning at 1:20. Don't worry, the review is coming on Friday. Now, that being said, this was not The Purge, and a lot of people thought it'd be The Purge, and something else jumped to my mind. I was like, why would they announce The Purge early? I know it's like a day early, but still, why would they announce The Purge early? This has got to be something else, and a lot of speculation was jumped to immediately. A lot of people were jumping to Halloween, given the fact that everyone, given the way they routed the people through trying to get into Diagon Alley, they already walked past the Sprung tent and saw the Myers facade. Like I said, I was talking about the team member Frank playing heads up with people to distract them so they don't pay attention to the fact that you have a very obvious outline of the Myers house over the Sprung tent right now, and people would start to talk. So obviously, to prevent that, send the team member Frank in there to play heads up. So, excuse me, I will say right now that Halloween was not going to be the announcement. I was like, no, that's not going to happen. And there was another idea, and the idea that I came up with, obviously, was to officially announce the return of Jack the Clown. And a lot of people are saying that could go either way at this point. Now, obviously, there is a video that does exist, and it has not gotten out yet, but there are screen caps that have gotten out of it, and there is a possibility Jack be returning this year to the event, just like has been speculated since December of last year, when we heard about the contract of the guy that played the Grinch during Grinchmas last year was in negotiations to play Jack the Clown this year at the event. Hey, I haven't said that in a while on camera, so there you go. So, that was speculation. It was like, are we going to announce Jack? And obviously his involvement with our steampunk-style clown factory. No, that was not going to be the case. This was actually not going to be another maze announcement. This was actually going to be something that Universal has needed to do for a bit, and that is start announcing Scare Zones. Because there are a lot of people, based upon the people that went to 23 last year, that probably think with the announcement of The Walking Dead returning, it would be exactly the same, and there would be Walking Dead everywhere. Now, that was not mentioned in those words whatsoever. However, I know how people's minds work. I work with the public, and I definitely understand that the people might think, unless they are pushed in the right direction, that that may exactly be the case, and The Walking Dead may be our entire street experience. So, in a smart move, Universal Orlando decided to announce a Scare Zone to be our next announcement for Orlando. So that's interesting that that was actually what was done, and a lot of people were speculating it's going to be The Purge, it's going to be The Purge. I was like, no, it's not going to be The Purge yet. And then I thought about it, and I was like, okay, let's see. What do we know? Or what do we think we know? We're talking about the Blood Masquerade in the front of the park. No, that's not it. And we talked about the geishas potentially in Sting Alley. Well, I'm hearing rumors that might have been dropped, but I don't know anything more than that. That's just a guess. I'm just going with rumors. It's all rumors right now. It's all rumors till everything is concrete on that HorrorNights.com website. Obviously, we know that, I'm guessing we're not going to announce The Purge. That's not going to be it. We're not going to talk about Voodoo yet. That's not going to come until the actual reveal. And no one's mentioning anything about what's going to happen in San Francisco, or what I think is going to happen in San Francisco, because the house isn't being announced yet. So obviously that's not it. So I put two and two together, and I thought about it, and I was like, you know, this is going to be your announcement for Face Off. And an image was posted off the Snapchat, and you saw the Halloween Horror Nights logo and a creepy monster on the side. Obviously, it was blurred out, and that's how we found out. And that same design was utilized. And I'll talk about that when we get to Hollywood's event in a few minutes. But first, at 11 o'clock, it was officially announced that Face Off in the Flesh was going to be our next and first Scare Zone, officially, for Halloween Horror Nights 24. And there was some information that was given out by Mike Aiello, and basically stating that in the Hollywood section of the park, where everybody thought that Face Off was going to go, there is going to be 10 different Face Off creations, and they are going to have 5 different environments in that 10. So yeah, it's going to be 2 per environment is what I'm guessing at this point. And of course, I'm going to read, as I always do, from the actual text here, and it basically says, this new Scare Zone will feature 10 different creations inspired by the sci-fi hit television show, including a look that was designed by Season 5 Face Off winner and Universal Orlando makeup artist, Laura Tyler. Now, this is going to be a couple of things. Now, obviously, not everything has been announced yet. Obviously, there's going to be some surprises. But here are some of the locations we're going to get here. Basically, there is going to be eerie scarecrows that go to great lengths to protect a spine-chilling farmland, and ghoulish brutes that haunt dilapidated castle ruins. So that's not the only castle we're getting this year, apparently. Now, of course, this is really in tune to promote the new season of Face Off, Life and Death, which comes out on the Sci-Fi Network on July 22nd. And there was a lot of mentioning about that, like the brand integration, like I said, is huge this year. It really is. And this is going to be really interesting, and of course, there's going to be an actual episode that is focused legitimately towards Orlando's event, and picking a creature, and that creature will thus be featured in the Scare Zone in Orlando. That's pretty cool, actually. So, that's what we pretty much know about Orlando. It's going to be the Scare Zone in Hollywood, okay? That's all we know for Orlando. John Murdy, on the other hand, a little different here. Now, once the announcement was made of In the Flesh coming as a Scare Zone, Murdy made the announcement it was coming in a maze form in the House of Horrors in Hollywood. So, basically, in this case, Face Off in the Flesh would take over the House of Horrors. There's going to be 22 different creatures in different environments, and that's going to inhabit the 12 rooms of the House of Horrors. And just like I predicted, I'm sorry, guys, for those of you that don't like this, for the 3rd year in a row, the House of Horrors is going to be not only inhabited by monsters, but also by monsters involving EDM. So yes, Figure will be returning for the 3rd year in a row to provide the soundtrack for the new House of Horrors experience, Face Off in the Flesh. So yes, that's what we have right now, and apparently Hollywood has a little bit more into it, knowing that on September 9th will actually be the episode in question. I was talking about one for Orlando. The one in Hollywood is actually coming officially on September 9th, and that creature, which will be an original horror villain, inspired by evocative titles and vivid graphics from a movie poster. So a movie poster to create a villain. And that makeup will end up being on display inside the House of Horrors in the flesh. So that's pretty awesome, actually. I'm really looking forward to this. I really wish I could go to the Hollywood event. Like I said, I don't like EDM. I don't like dubstep. I never have. But I'm intrigued. I'm very intrigued how this is going to work. Murdy went furthermore and had to mention a few more things. He said that there was going to be a few themes. He listed them out, and he dropped 2 themes on us right away. Number 1 is the fact there's going to be insect-human hybrids. That's going to be really, really creepy and probably fits really well in the Catacombs section of the House of Horrors. The other one is the one that was based upon the image we've already seen of a very zombified-looking Mad Hatter holding a dilapidated cup of tea, or what was left of one, and basically that would equal out to another part of the maze, which is going to be Alice in Zombieland. So apparently we found out something last night. Like I found out talking to him on Twitter that Murdy's a Seinfeld fan. Now I found out that he's an Alice in Wonderland mark, and he's been excited for this section of the House of Horrors, obviously. He's a big Lewis Carroll fan. He obviously has a house, and he has a house, obviously everybody knows he has a house, John Murdy. But he has a house, and he has a room in his house devoted to Lewis Carroll, so yeah, that was pretty cool. He loves the dark take on Alice. That was actually his wording in general. So that's all that he's listing. That's all that he's mentioning. There's going to be obviously a lot more to come, because don't forget there's 12 rooms in the House of Horrors, technically, if you want to count all the character interaction. That's obviously going to be covered up by the awesome oons, oons, oons music. And I don't like dubstep, so yeah, that's how it is. But let's talk about the code name. Now, the original announcement was announced a while back that the next code name that was about to be decrypted is going to be Teen Spirit. And immediately that jumped to the fact that it was awesome, Teen Spirit's going to be decrypted. You guys are getting The Conjuring. Because obviously I connected The Conjuring to Teen Spirit. And immediately that was dashed because Murdy said that this was for the House of Horrors. And I was thinking, there's no way you could put The Conjuring in the House of Horrors. It doesn't make any sense. Dracula Untold was what we thought was going to go in the House of Horrors, but a lot of people think it probably needs its own space. It sounds to me like at this point, Dracula Untold, codename Empire, is probably going to go in the Parisian Courtyard. So you have a nice castle facade in the Parisian Courtyard, a nice little image that'll pop throughout the day for day guests who don't know what's going on. And for night guests, obviously going to the event, they're going to see a really awesome castle just sitting there, just chilling. So that means that sounds like no Conjuring, no Cabin this year for Hollywood, so maybe next year. Cabin doesn't necessarily have to be time sensitive, and Conjuring works better next year because you have both Annabelle to come out this year and The Conjuring 2 to work with. That's the same reason I think that it's coming to Orlando next year. I think it's going to be one of the main IPs in Orlando next year, but we'll talk about Orlando's event and what I think is going to come to it for 25 in probably October or November, depending on when I do my videos for the entire event. Obviously, I did that last year. Every single night I went to the event, I did a video for it. I'm going to do that again this year. So, hopefully, I will have 7 videos this year, not just 6. We'll see. I'm working on it right now. So, the code name was Teen Spirit, and then I was like, Teen Spirit, Dracula Untold, and I was like, yeah, well, Sean Penn was in Fast Times at Ridgemont High, and obviously he went to Beverly Hills High School with everyone else, and he was in a movie. He actually did a documentary, a feature-length documentary called Haiti Untold in 2012. Like AJ said, obviously he did something about Haiti. It makes complete sense, but that's what he's talking about on television at all times. The thing about it is that was my connection to Dracula Untold. And I put this out, and of course, Murdy pretty much kind of said, nah, that's probably not right. And I was like, well, okay, let's try something else. And I thought about it, and I thought about it, and I thought about it, and I was like, wait a minute. There was a rumor a long time ago that was mentioned on the Horror Night Nightmares page on the forums that, what about Face Off going into the House of Horrors? And I thought about it, and I looked at the actual clues, and I figured it out. And I figured it out correctly. So, I can honestly say that I cracked a John Murdy clue, and apparently that's really hard to do. Because I was nowhere last year. Last year I did horrible trying to decrypt those clues. This year I was way heavy on it, and I think I got most of them. Actually, I think I know most of them to be correct, and I'll talk about that in a minute or two. So what do we have? Teen Spirit was an actor. An actor and appeared in a very famous Universal teen comedy that took place in a high school. Now, the maze name is a movie credit. Literally, it's a movie credit. Seriously, it really is, and I really should have realized this. The character, the movie actor in question is the great Nicolas Cage. And Cage had a bit part in Fast Times. Well, Cage also went to Beverly Hills High School in 1964. And in 1964, he went to Beverly Hills High School with another actor, and you would know him as George McFly, and that is Crispin Glover. So yes, Crispin Glover and Nicolas Cage both went to Beverly Hills High School. Now, I got that, and I was proud of myself for getting that. Now, the movie in question, it's Face Off. Think about it. Face Off. It was right in front of us the whole time. Just like I said in a previous video, sometimes the Carney way is using the obviosity to take you away from the real answer and get you all twisted up until you have to eventually lose your mind. In actuality, it was what was obvious all along. I should know, I'm a Carney myself. That's the reason why it's been a little easier for me. Obviously, it's not easy at all. Not one bit. But it was a little easier for me than some because I actually know the Carney ways, and that's how we pretty much figured this out. Now, Cage, this is a Kevin Bacon connection. Cage, of course, starred in Face Off with one of my favorite actors, John Travolta, who did a movie a while back called Two of a Kind, which is your reference to poker. I was not aware that the other actor in the movie would be your connection to poker. That's why I was all over the place trying to figure out the other things. So it makes sense. And yes, that was the official announcement of Teen Spirit. So what do we have left? Well, right now, we have a few announcements left to come. We have Empire still on the table, we have soap commercial still on the table, we have Beauty is Only Skin Deep still on the table, and we have our original maze with no code word on the table still. So what do we got right now? Well, as of this moment, I'm going to believe joining what we already know. And what we know is the Terror Tram is going to be invaded by the Walking Dead. We know the Backlot is going to host From Dusk Till Dawn, and that's going to be one of, it seems like 3 mazes that are going to be on the Backlot this year. We know that the House of Horrors is going to now host Face Off in the Flesh, and the Metropolitan set area is going to be hosting our Walking Dead End of the Line actual maze. So, there's rumors, obviously, that we have a couple of locations. Obviously, there's no rumors here. We've seen construction on the Mummy, and apparently with the last construction pictures, it sounds like there might be a facade on the front of it. And what I think is going into the Mummy is actually going to be the original maze. The original maze that will probably be either featuring music by or narrated by, kind of like El Cucuy with Danny Trejo last year, is involving Slash. And obviously I was talking about Route 66. This could be various roadside attractions across Route 66, and obviously leaning towards that clown motel that I talked about, given the fact that Murdy was talking about a food packaging that's always freaked him out. Clowns jumped to mind immediately, and that's what I'm thinking, that both Hollywood and Orlando are going to get clowns this year in one form or another. I don't necessarily mean just scare zones. I think that probably does happen, but I'm thinking that they're going to get houses as well. I know Orlando is. Hollywood is just speculation. So, as of this moment, Stage 747 looks like it's going to host Beauty's Only Skin Deep, and all signs now point to Alien vs. Predator being another share with Orlando, and it should be a really awesome maze and house. Very excited for this property. Would have been better if we got Alien or Aliens. Alien, I understand, because of Disney's ownership of the rights, but Aliens and anything other than that is fair game, so they could have done Aliens, technically. But we put it together, and we did the Icon versus Icon, Alien versus Predator. So that's going to be a fun maze. We're basically going to be stuck in the middle, and it's going to be awesome, just like I've said in previous videos. So, of course, soap commercial is in Jurassic Park queue, and there's nothing that's saying that it's anything but. It is an American Werewolf in London, and it makes complete sense that it is. And there is supposedly an appealing IP that is going into Parisian Courtyard, and I think it's going to be codenamed Empire, which is Dracula Untold, also sharing with Orlando. So, what we're looking at right now is you have 7 mazes in Hollywood. 7 mazes in Hollywood, and there is only 2, technically 3. 3 because 1 is a scare zone here and a maze in Hollywood. 2, technically 3, that we are sharing. And of scare zones, there are 2, maybe 3, depends. It's a possibility that our Blood Masquerade could be a copy of Hollywood's Masquerade, but I don't know about that. That's just a guess right now. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of sharing between Hollywood and Orlando this year. Should be fun. So, obviously, what we're looking at right now, what I think the next announcement is going to be the announcement of The Purge. The Purge returning to Hollywood in the form of Anarchy, and The Purge debuting in Orlando also in the form of Anarchy. So yeah, Purge Anarchy coming to Hollywood and Orlando will be the next announcement that I'm thinking is coming up. So yeah, they're going to actually get 2 Scare Zone announcements in 1 week, so it makes perfect sense. So what comes after this? Well, I think after the trailer had such a lukewarm reception, I think Dracula Untold needs to be brought out as soon as possible. I think it could be before the month is over. If I had to guess, I don't think it's one of the ones that has to wait to reveal week. Halloween, I know a lot of people are saying that it's a possibility they could announce it next. I think that Halloween is actually going to be the last announcement. I think it's going to be the one, it's going to be the Resident Evil this year. I know what you're saying about this, but hear me out before you start to try to crucify me. What I mean by the Resident Evil this year is I think it's not going to be part of Reveal Week. I think it's going to be the last maze announcement that is done after Reveal Week. So August 29th would be when I think they announce the announcement of Halloween. That's if I'm guessing at the note that I have right now. I think I have Reveal Week also being when Alien vs. Predator is announced, playing up the fact that it's the 10-year anniversary of the movie on August 13th this year. So yeah, that's what we're looking at right now. Hollywood's announcement, I really think that it's a possibility, and I think it's a probability that your next announcement is going to be for Soap Commercial, and we'll finally get our announcement officially of An American Werewolf in London coming to Hollywood. And if you want to go another direction, I think that the next Maze announcement in Orlando could potentially be that return of Jack the Clown into the Steampunk Clown Factory, unless it is the co-branded announcement, the share announcement of Dracula Untold, which I think could also be the case as well. So a lot of fun stuff still to come, and very excited. Dr. Jimmy has been doing decryptic performances, which have been very entertaining so far. He's taking the lyrics of the songs he used in the cryptic performances, and he is rewriting them Weird Al style. Makes sense, it's Mandatory Fun just came out this week, and he is rewriting them to make them fit, and they're hilarious, and really showcasing his musical theater background, which I found out legitimately that he has, so that's pretty awesome. Given a guy that used to work at the Adventurers Club, it makes complete sense to me. So yes, that's what we've got right now, and once we get another announcement, whether it's tonight, whether it's tomorrow, you're going to see my bright face once again letting you know all about the deets of this particular Maze or Scare Zone announcement in both Orlando and Hollywood, so that's going to be the case from now on. So once again, before I get going, I do want to mention one more thing real quick, and that is obviously, if you haven't yet, if you're on Twitter, go on Twitter right now and go to @HorrorNights and go follow John Murdy talking about all that is Halloween Horror Nights in Hollywood. And if you haven't yet, go to Twitter and follow @HorrorNightsORL and follow Mike Aiello and the team, and follow all the events for Halloween Horror Nights in Orlando. So yes, check those out. Those are the official sources of information, and as much as we think we know, or that we already know, it's not official until it's revealed by Twitter or on HorrorNights.com. HalloweenHorrorNights.com in this case. So as always, shout out to all the Halloween Horror Nights updaters. Really enjoyed our the Horror Nights Updaters specifically doing that chat last night. that was fun as always. Nice hanging out with my friends, and apparently I will be joining them somewhere in the future. I actually talked to Psycho Massacre Films about that, and it sounds like it's going to be a done deal. I just don't know exactly when. But once I find out that I am going to be joining the Horror Nights Updaters for one of their videos, I will let you guys know, shoot you guys out a reminder here. As always, shout out to Dr. Jimmy, the awesome Dr. Jimmy, for his Decryptic performances now, Documo on YouTube. Also, shout out to my friend John, Psycho Massacre Films, my friend Vic, Dr. Emmett Brown 1, Admiral HHN, HHN Trogdor, my friend Tristan, HHN Fan 16, the Horror Nights Updaters themselves. You also can follow UK HHN, my friend Neil, Mr. Horror Nights, the Thrill Seeker Network, the Red Steel TV, the Crazy Englishman, Deadly Fear 1283, Jeremy Films with 2 Z's, HHN Phantom, and HHN Fanboy. I enjoy all of your videos, and hopefully you guys and girls out there enjoy mine. And if you do enjoy the videos, comment, subscribe, leave a comment on the wall of my Facebook fan page if you go and like it. It is Sir Owen Disney Pop on Facebook. Follow me on Twitter at Sir Owen Disney, and if you'd like to send me a friend request on Facebook, which I know a lot of you have already, and I appreciate that, it is Owen Disney. And if you'd like to send an email to me and talk Horror Nights, Disney, Universal, you want to talk wrestling, you want to talk music, movies, you want to give me an idea for verses, you want to give me an idea for a segment you'd like to see, you want to become a popcaster yourself, or if you'd like to hang out with me in Halloween Horror Nights this year, then be my guest and let me know. SirOwenDisney@gmail.com. In the meantime, I want to thank you guys and girls out there for watching, and until tomorrow, boys and girls, that's all I got to say about that.